I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
How long has NASCAR been coming to Martinsville Speedway? Since the very beginning. On July 4th, 1947, more than 4,000 fans jammed into the one-year-old dirt half-mile racetrack to watch Fonty Flock beat his brother Tim, Buck Baker, and sanctioning body founder Bill France himself in NASCAR's sixth ever race. The racetrack that Clay Earls carved out of the Virginia countryside was shaped like a paperclip and just 137 feet more than a half mile in length, 0.526 miles to be exact. Other than an asphalt paving job in 1955 and the addition of more durable concrete lanes in the 12-degree banked corners 21 years later, Martinsville, the only remaining NASCAR venue from the 47 season, is the same configuration it was when the gates were first opened. Oh, and then there's the addition of the grandstands to increase the seating capacity from the original 750 to the 85,000 it boasts today. Now a NASCAR property, Martinsville Speedway hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Craftsman Trucks, late model stocks, and the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. With short, tight, modestly banked corners, the competition is tight and can get quite physical. After 500 laps around Martinsville, few, if any, of the cars are unscathed. Tonight, it's race number 7 of the Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to race number 7 of the Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series from Martinsville Speedway. Race details for tonight: 160 laps the distance, 78-degree ambient temperature, 47% humidity, cloudy skies, 8-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers working with a 55% fuel load tonight. 2 sets of tires over the wall. No fast repairs. Again, short track here at Martinsville, likely to tear up some sheet metal tonight, so these guys really got to be careful not to tear up their race trucks this evening. And 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish, if necessary. Practice just about wrapped up, roughly a minute or so in this session before we get into qualifying. We'll go down trackside. Looks like Brian McCann fastest right now over Brandon Minnick, Paul Durkee, Connor Leach, and Caleb Sisk. Again, you guys will have to forgive me here tonight. Lost my voice earlier this morning. It's significantly better than it was then, but still the same guy in the booth. Just sound a little crap here. Looking at about a 2/10 delta between the top 10 trucks. Brian McCann, the fastest, down to the 18 of Chris Klein. The entire top 10, though, sub-20-second laps. We'll see if we can match those times or even improve upon them in qualifying here momentarily. So that'll do it for practice. Black and red flags on the session. And again, as we said, we're going to get right into qualifying here tonight. Scheduled 10-minute session, 2 laps, whatever occurs first. Looks like Vincent Short will be the first to enter pit lane. We'll see if he pulls out. He does. Hits the racetrack here to start his qualifying effort. First lap for short, 20.915. Lap 2 likely to be the quick time. .19.80 for Drew Blaze. He currently tops the charts. Short, back to start finish, wrapping up lap number 2. Where does he land? Fourth quick, 20.143. Albert Anderson, the number 99 out of Washington, D.C. Anderson, 20.177, sits 10th fast for now. Chris Klein losing it on lap 2, so he's going to be credited here with 19.95. It's currently 6th quick, so not a bad first lap. Go to Justin Lawson here in the 20. So Lawson a 19.898, 5th quick. Chris Goins with some new colors this week in his number 4 F-150. 19.882 is his first lap, 5th quick. Jonesy crosses the stripe, finishes up his second lap around Martinsville, goes 3rd quick, 19.835. Jason Steptoe now out of Roanoke, Virginia, 20.422, 22nd. Throwaway lap for the 50 on the first trip around. We'll see if he picks it up here in a half a lap. So Jason across the stripe, 24th to 20th, 20.261. Connor Leach, the number 71. Currently, Caleb Sisk, top time, 19.71. Very impressive lap. That's faster than what we saw in practice. And Leach goes 2nd quick, 19.77, also faster than what we saw in practice. Don't know if Brian McCann has attempted his effort yet. Does not appear to be the case. Brian likely going to wait this one out. Maybe cool that track down a little bit. Catch a cloud. Leach stays 2nd. Second lap is 7.96. Jonathan Marsh in the number 80. Little up out of the groove. Out of 2. Marsh goes 28th quick, first lap 20.752 seconds, and real up out of the groove again, same as we saw in his first lap. Might have collected the safer barrier just a touch there, which would invalidate this second lap. We'll see if it stands. So there it is, 21.034. Didn't invalidate the lap, but certainly cost him a lot of time. He'll sit 28th for now. Mark Truxell now on the racetrack. First lap in the books for Truxell, 20.400, 26 fast for the 5. Little Tate's Cupcakes Silverado. Brian McCann still has not taken a lap in qualifying. We got just over 4.5 minutes remaining. Still plenty of time given how long it takes to get your qualifying efforts in, as Truxell picks up by about a 10th. Goes 24th now. Still waiting for some drivers to head out onto the speedway. Tom Barish, Eddie Rose, Ryan Kemper, Brian McCann, Russ Endicott. Sean Roberts hasn't completed a full lap yet. Mike Fahey the same. Double O Joe Bennett shows about a 2-lap effort, but not a time of record, so possibly some off-track or contact with the outside wall would invalidate both of his laps. So again, current fast time, it's a 6 of Caleb Sisk, a 19.713 on his first lap. Second lap must have had an issue, was considerably slower, almost 25 seconds. Still waiting to see if Brian McCann's going to head out of the speedway. It shows he took maybe 3/4 of a lap on his out lap, and then that's it. Sounds like he's rolling. And there he is, the 7 of Brian McCann with a new paint scheme this week. See if the 7's got anything for Sisk and Leach to knock these guys off the front row. He was fastest in practice. Here he is, cross, start, finish, Brian McCann on the clock. Little wheel spin on the exit of 4 there. First lap in the books for Brian McCann. Where does he land? He goes P1, 19.70, and he didn't even get all of it. Spun the tires on the exit of 4 on that first timed lap. He's still in the gas. Does he have enough to pick it up? Look good. 19.893 doesn't pick up, but still a stellar first 2 laps here in qualifying. Puts McCann on the pole position. Now Sean Roberts will hit the racetrack. The 333 out there. .481. Roberts across the stripe, 25th, 20.301. Mike Fahey now going to head out. Just about 2 minutes left. Now, in case you didn't know, this is Zach Millett's favorite driver on the service, so just keep a close eye on the 19. Fahey across start finish. First lap invalidated. Second lap at 20.93. 32nd fast for Mike Fahey. And just over a minute left in the session. I think this may do it, though. Tom Barish, Eddie Rose, Double O Joe, Ryan Kemper, Russ Endicott. For various reasons, not locking in an actual time in qualifying. Looks to be everybody else outside of Joe Bennett there opting not to attempt a lap. With that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with our starting lineup after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, let's take a look at our starting grid on the pole position with a lap time of 19.702 seconds. It's the 7 of Brian McCann. Outside front row, missed it by 11 thousandths of a second. It's the 6 of Caleb Sisk. Row number 2, it's Connor Leach and Drew Blaze. Row 3 belongs to Chris Goins. and Brandon Minnick. Some tough customers there in the top 6. Paul Durkee will start 7th. Justin Lawson rolls 8th. 9th starter is Carson Rowland. 10th goes to the 69 of Larry Dickerson. Tommy Welch will start from the 11th spot. 12th goes to Aikman Pollard. 13th starter, it's Chris Klein. Brandon Coleman, 14th. Crystal Volano from Track Bar Motorsports starts 15th. 16th is Nick Biddy. 17th is Ryan Pasoko. 18th, Skylar Herod. Vincent Short will roll 19th. Albert Anderson, 20th. 21st, Scott Milner. Jesse Redding, 22nd. Jason Steptoe, 23rd. 24th, Chuck Kiger. 25th, Sean Roberts. 26th, Mark Truxell. 27th starter, it's Mike Corvu. 28th is Mark Collins. Paul Ferdiani will start 29th. 30th belongs to Ben McKinnon. Jonathan Marsh in the 80 machine will start 31st. Mike Fahey, 32nd. Devil O Joe will start 33rd. 34th is Eddie Rose. Ryan Kemper, 35th. Russ Endicott, 36th. And shotgun on the field in the 55. It's Tom Barish rounding out the field in 37th. Field still sits, gridding up, waiting to get everybody here. Looks like Tom Barish, the last truck to get into the starting grid here. We cannot start the race procedures until everybody is gridded, so we're still waiting on the 55 to come to the grid. Tom Barish, please come to the grid. And I guess Tom's just watching. You got to click that spectate button there, Tom. Help us out. Got race details for tonight. 160 laps, the race distance, 79 degrees Fahrenheit, air temperature, 45% humidity, cloudy skies, 8-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature, 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers working on a 55% fuel load tonight. 2 sets of tires over the wall, 3 total if you count what they start the race on. No fast repairs, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if it comes down to it. As the pace truck lights have gone out, we'll be green the next time by.
Not going, they're going to figure it out.
They're going to wave it off again here. An extra lap added just so we can get the order right. Again, large fields here in this series. 37, well, should be 37. Tom Barish looks like he's not participating tonight. So 36 truck field. So field on the back straightaway here, half a lap away from being under the green flag. Pace truck will enter the pit lane in turn 3.
Ready, green flag.
And here we go, green flag in the air. We're racing from Martinsville. Oh, already Drew Blaze, couple of trucks in the fence on the initial start, spinning the tires. Caution out already. We got a melee down in turn number 1. Well, that didn't take long. All kinds of trucks just parked here. Looks like a U-Pullet yard out here in turn 1. And it's going to be shorter for me to tell you who wasn't involved in that. It's a massive list, so we're just going to say half the field. Let's try to get a look at this. It's going to be big. See, the green flag is in the air. We'll see if the drone can catch it. Really, this kicked off, I think, from the guys up in the top 10 spinning the tires and getting the fence. It kind of jacked everybody up. Well, this is coming to green. That would explain why we haven't seen anything yet. Let's try this again. So the back of the field not quite caught up on the initial start, so they were dragging behind, which means they're at a much higher rate of speed at the end of this straightaway, as it were. I still can't find the crash. What is going on here? Brandon Coleman involved in it. A couple of drivers you saw right there, and then that was just a big checkup there. Everybody slowing up with that issue at the initial start.
Not going.
They've since waved off the restart. Does appear that, well, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure who the actual leader is supposed to be here. McCann may have opted for the outside lane, or Sisk was just a nose in front when the yellow came out. But here we are, first restart of the day. It'll be lap 7. Front row, Sisk and McCann. Green back in the air. Let's give it a shot, see how we do.
Caution.
And Vincent Short is around, coming to green. So second caution of the night. We've completed the equivalent of 3/4 of a lap under green at this point. Got to get some heat into the tires of these trucks. So again, this is coming to green. Into turn 3, real time. Short just getting on the power in the middle of the corner. It comes around. And then he gets hung up there, a little high side on the curb, backs it up into traffic, and that's probably what triggered the yellow. But with that, we're going to step aside here, get a break out of the way. We'll be back with the restart after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Signal I need to cut across 8 lane. None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
Green flag.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, green flag in the air as they barrel down into turn number 1. Sisk with the lead, Leach to the inside of Brian McCann off of turn number 2. Sisk back to the line here. Still trouble here back in turn 4. Not sure what's got everybody jumbled up. So far, so good, though. Everybody trying to get lined back out. Brandon Minnick back in the 7th position. Chris Gones still running 5th. Couple of green flag laps in the books now. Already some drivers looking at 3 wide here. Got to be careful with that real early. Now Drew Blaze and Chris Gones running side by side. Gones in the 4 truck top side. And an issue here a moment ago, Skylar Herod. And I think the 33 of Paul Ferdiani, yes indeed, they came together for a moment. Not sure if that was payback from an earlier incident. We saw Herod had a problem prior. Now a battle for position towards the front of the field. Brian McCann still topside trying to hang on to that spot, not let the 71 Leach get by, while Chris Gones closing in. Got to wonder here if it's just McCann trying to force the 71 to push the issue here. Burn up his stuff, and the caution's out again.
Any feeling about the car at all?
Says it may have been Nick Biddy. Let's see if we can find this. First, let's go back. Skylar Herod with the issue prior. We didn't see it on the screen, but don't think it had anything to do with Ferdiani. 25 just dive bombs it in. Tried to avoid as Herod turned down, but 25 got to the bottom of the racetrack and then hit the curb and sent him up into the 3. But this is for the caution. It looks like Nick Biddy having an issue out on the track. Either way late on the brakes or just trying to get too much too early. When you get greedy, that's what happens. So caution number 3 on the Speedway. 21 laps in of 160 here at Martinsville Speedway. Caleb Sisk still leads. McCann gets that 2nd spot. I almost think that McCann would have been better off getting 3rd there, just given how that 2nd position is typically a disadvantage, even for compared to the 3rd place car or truck in this series. So he's going to have to start likely on the outside. See if he can get the jump on Sisk. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So we still ride behind the iRacing pace truck. Lights are still on. Should get the 1 to go, I believe, this time by. Will put us to restart at lap 24. Well, let's try this again. Pace truck into pit lane. Double file restart. Ready to get going again from Martinsville. We lap 24. Sisk with the lead. McCann second. And then Connor Leach and Chris Goins in the second row. Green flag in the air. Sisk gets back out to that race lead, but the battle for second continues. Connor Leach to the inside, Brian McCann up top. McCann into 7. Got new colors for Brian this week. Bungholes Barbecue. I wonder if it's legit. If it is, that's pretty funny. Gaggle of trucks here, mid-pack on back. Oh, trouble.
Caution.
Jesse Redding goes around. Caution is out again.
What do you got for temps there?
Take a look at it just a moment ago. Is like Larry Dickerson maybe involved in this too? Yep. Brandon Coleman coming in late. Sean Roberts getting a piece as Dickerson starts coming down the banking, what little there is. Albert Anderson just dive bombing to the inside. We're seeing a few of the drivers doing that here tonight. It is awfully early for that. I know it's tough to pass at this place, but you really got to wear a guy down here. You cannot take risks like that. Dive into the inside really late on the brakes. It's not going to work out. Sometimes it does, but so far we've seen it 3 different times this evening, and every time it's resulted in a yellow. Does look like McCann may have gotten that second position, just nosed up in front, or third position for that matter, with Connor Leach, which really will give McCann a better restart position. It's so strange, and it just seems like a abnormality here with iRacing, and it doesn't seem to matter the track, that the outside front row on the restarts, you're just a sit and duck for the guy in third. We'll actually watch that here as Leach will restart now on the outside.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Sisk on the gas. And there it is, just as we suspected. Third place gets to the inside of second place in a hurry down into turns 1 and 2. Alongside Connor Leach is Brian McCann. Nose out in front, down the back straightaway. But this is going to be the continuing trend here, trying to get this position cleared out, whether it's single file or otherwise. But Leach gets the run out of turn 2, gets clear of Brian McCann. It looks like Brian's just going to ride in the tire tracks for now. Larry Dickerson in the stream chat says, well, I was right about my prediction last week in my interview. I'm eating hot dogs early because, well, I won't finish it. There's no bad words, but you guys can jump in the stream chat to watch the rest. Or read the rest, for that matter. Something about somebody's brakes. Sisk, though, on the charge, out in front, stretching out his lead over teammate Connor Leach. It's 1.3 seconds back to the 71. McCann, though, again, was super fast in practice. Obviously put the truck on pole position in qualifying. Currently running third. Nice to get a long green flag run here to see what settles out with these trucks on older tires. Good sight to see. A lot of drivers starting to get the hint here. Single file, quite a ways back. Maybe some action throughout the field with the side-by-side. That's okay once we get some heat and some tire temperature, some air pressure, and as soon as I say that, the caution is out. Mark Collins is around. Looks like Jason Steptoe might be involved in this, as well as Brandon Coleman, Paul Ferdiani, and others. Big mess here once again. So it looks like it started here. Collins drives it way deep. Too much rear brake or too late on the brakes. Drives it into the corner, comes around, and then I think it's just kind of reactionary after the fact. We see Steptoe. Let's see what happened here with him. Well, same thing, really. Just too high on entry. Gets the right rear out of that concrete patch there. Around he comes, and everybody else is just going to start checking up. So caution number 5 after 40 laps. Pit lane open now. Some drivers going to take an opportunity to come down here. This may throw everybody off a little bit as far as their pace is concerned. Granted, we haven't run a ton of green flag laps. Surprised to see if these guys are going to bolt any tires on unless they're just trying to get some damage repaired. Appears some drivers may have taken some tires here, but that's going to leave them with one set for the rest of this, which, I don't know, may not be terribly bad for these guys in that respect, just given that we've gotten a lot of cautions already to this point. If we go on the same pace, we're going to end up, and I hate to say it, but if we go at the same rate, we'll have 20 cautions before this one's over. But if that is the case, the tires won't matter quite as much as far as how many sets they got sitting over the wall. Green flag back in the air. Caleb Sisk on the gas. Teammate Connor Leach to the outside. Another opportunity for Brian McCann to try and get back into that second position and set his sights on Sisk. It seems like Brian has the pace to keep up with the 6 machine, but he's got to get clear of Connor Leach. Oh, Brandon Minnick maybe going around, and he does.
Spun out. Really?
And everybody's still piling in. Aikman Pollard getting collected in that as well. So let's take a look. We saw it kind of live as it happened. Let's watch here. Brandon Minnick, I think he just lost it on his own, which is kind of a rare thing for the 81. Let's see what happened. Oh, the 20 drives it way too deep, probably 4 truck lengths too deep. Just drives through the back of Aikman Pollard, and the chain reaction domino effect sends him into Brandon Minnick. Watch it again here now in the frame. Look back the outside of the 90. That's that number 20 GameStop machine. He's out of the frame to the right now, but keep watching. Watch the 25. There he goes. Larry Dickerson says, Steve, what do you like on your hot dogs? I'll send some up to the booth. Well, if you had legitimate Martinsville hot dogs that you could actually get into this broadcast booth, I'd take them however you can send them. But if I had a choice, whatever they put on them, everything. I'm not going to dress it up anything fancy. Whatever they want to do, I'm down. Give me like 10 of them. For those of you that have been to Martinsville, I got to ask, I mean, obviously they serve the Martinsville hot dog during the NASCAR Cup Series weekends, but do they, I would assume they serve them any race night weekend, whether it's Pro Late Models or Cars Tour or whatever. Let me know in the chat if they do that, because honestly, I'd almost rather go to one of those series and watch a race there. Just the way that top 3 series in NASCAR tend to run their races at this place, it's really not worth showing up. Base truck heads to pit lane. We'll try it again to finish caution number 6. Restart coming at lap 49.
Green.
And there it is. Green back in the air. Now, I got to wonder here with Brian McCann. He's been wise enough to stay in that 3rd restart position. I feel like he's going to take the opportunities here to take that 2nd spot all he can early. If he's got a real good chance, like right now, he'll take it. But if he didn't, kind of let the 71 hang out of that 2nd spot to give him another opportunity later when the caution comes back out. But McCann's got the spot for now. Leach up the racetrack just a bit. Open the door slightly for Chris Goins.
Caution.
And there it is. Caution's out again. So the problem is now for Brian McCann is he's going to be back in that 2nd place restart position. So it's going to open the door for Leach to take full advantage and take that spot away. This seems like this is going to be the battle to watch most of the afternoon. Jonathan Marsh seems to be involved in this one, the 80 truck. So let's get a look what happened to him. See Marsh there running with Mark Collins. Ooh, Marsh way late getting in up the racetrack. And hard to say if Collins slid up the track there while Marsh was trying to figure out what he was going to do. Either way, they make some contact. Not a major incident, but enough to bring out the yellow. And for anybody out there that doesn't think I can knock down 10 hot dogs, I don't know if I can either, but I know I've done 7 or 8. Not at Martinsville. Those were Swaggle Red Hots, but if you know, you know. I know Mike Fahey knows what I'm talking about. They pop when you cook them. And for the record, I did not feel well afterwards, but I still got it done. Kind of makes me want to do that 9 innings, 9 beers, 9 hot dog challenge. Just because. Why not? We should do 9 cautions, 9 beers, 9 hot dogs at Martinsville. That could work out. Of course, if we get more than 9, it's going to get ugly. So ready for the restart here. Pace truck lights are out again. Now, you'll notice we're still double file here. In the Num-Tums Racing League, I don't know that there is a provision to go to single file restarts. I know in the VRL, when Lori's adminning down there in that series on Wednesday nights, when they have consecutive yellows like we've had, typically we'll try to go single file. But again, this is a small racetrack, 36 trucks. I don't necessarily know that it would really make a huge difference.
Green flag.
And green flag back in the air. Sis gets away. Does a good job holding off Connor Leach for the time being, but Brian couldn't get the truck down to the low side of the racetrack. He'll have a bit of a run out of 2. Still clear of this 71 as the battle's still heating up with Chris Goins for 3rd. Goins the outside of the number 4 Hot Tamales truck. I believe that's what I read.
Caution.
And the caution's out again. Step toe.
Together, bub.
Eddie Rose. Oh boy, here we go. Big one again. Well, let's get a look. If nothing else, we're going to get a cool look at the damage model tonight. Or a good one, at least. So the 14, the missile down into the corner, but I don't know if he was helped. It looked like he may have had some from the 88. So here's the 14. This is Ryan Kemper. And it looks like the 88 drove it in way deep on the bottom while the 14 was turning in. Catches out, looks like 3 or 4 trucks at a minimum here. So, some pit strategy at play here as Brian McCann has taken the top spot. Caleb Sisk hits pit lane, so does teammate Connor Leach. So that's going to set us up for the restart. It'll show Brian McCann back out in front with Chris Goins to the outside. Paul Durkee, Roland, Albert Anderson, Mark Truxell, Ryan Pasoko, Jesse Redding, Vincent Short, now Crystal Volano into the top 10. Caution number 8. About to wrap up. Lap 60 to go on the board. It'll give us 101 laps remaining.
Green flag.
And there it is. Green in the air. McCann on the gas. Goins has position. He's going to arc it down into turn 1. Does not pull in behind McCann. Keeps it up in that middle lane of that concrete patch in the middle of the corner. got this lap in the books. 3 wide into turn 1. Connor Leach on the bottom. Leach, a little bit of contact with Eddie Rose. Rose could have gone further up the racetrack, chose to stay in the middle lane. Rose way up the track again now. He's going to slide up, might get the wall. Rose free falling here, 3 wide again. This will set it up into 1. Paul Verdiani scrambling. Aikman Pollard to the bottom. Going to be 3 wide again. Eddie way up the track in the marbles of this racetrack.
Caution out.
And caution out again. Trouble on the front straightaway. Aikman Pollard involved. Eddie Rose. Multiple others. Looks like Ben McKinnon got a piece of it as well. So let's go look again. That's not even the same wreck. Having trouble keeping track here. Here they are out of 4. Looks like McKinnon just over-rotates on exit. Has to check up, tries to save it. He'll clip Aikman Pollard. Then Minnick gets turned off the nose of the 23 of Collins. Eddie tried to sneak through. He makes some contact. Coleman comes in, makes some contact. With that, we'll step aside again, get a break out of the way. We'll be back after this. Back at Martinsville Speedway, lap 67 up on the board. We're wrapping up caution number 9. Chris Goins in the chat says, where is that hot tamale? And I don't know if he's asking literally. I mean, that's what's on his truck, unless I've got another trade and paints concern to address. No, it's the right truck. It's got the Blue Chew on there. Always need some Blue Chew when you got some hot tamales. Just saying. All right, ready for the restart again. Lap 68. Pace truck is in. McCann on the front row. Durkee to the outside. McCann hard on the throttle. And Durkee trying to close the door on Goins, knowing he's got to keep him away from the low side of the racetrack here. Goins keeping his nose there out of turn number 2. Oh, in trouble in the backstretch.
Caution's out.
Albert Anderson involved in this, and we got a melee here on the back straightaway. One truck up on its side, slashes down. Mike Corvu, that was, going for an odd ride. Nick Biddy trying to sneak to the pits just so he doesn't get wrecked more. Oh, here it is. Looks like the 90 got the wall, the 2 tried to avoid, and then right hooked Albert Anderson. And then you see the rest. Everybody just piles in rather than hit the brakes. We'll be right back.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
Back in Martinsville, ready for the restart. 10th restart of the day. Lap 73 will go up on the board. And we've gone single file.
Green, green, green.
McCann on the gas. Chris Goins there in tow. Back to the line, lap 74. McCann now out and in front. Chris Goins runs second. Carson Rowland, Jesse Redding, Caleb Sisk running in the top 5. Top 4 drivers, though, have yet to make a pit stop. Which, again, with the number of cautions that we've had, we're averaging 1 every 7 laps. There's not a ton of green flag laps on these tires. I don't even think you can consider it a heat cycle, but there's the caution again.
Second, caution for it.
Eddie Rose involved in this one. Jason Steptoe as well. Let's get a look. Don't know if they were even related. Don't know where Eddie Rose is in this mix. We'll see in a minute. But Steptoe on the throttle, mid-corner there. The 2 of Pasoko gets into him, and then a little tank slap overcorrect for Steptoe. Still don't know what happened to Eddie Rose. Let's see what happened with the 88. So it looks like the 12 gets into him. Sends him down the track into Truxell, and then Eddie's up the track. So Brian McCann appears to have hit pit lane now. The 2 that have stayed out, Chris Goins and Jesse Redding, really stretching their tires here. Again, with the way these cautions keep falling, I can't say that I blame them. So Goins, Redding, and Volano. Ironic, all Track Bar Motorsports drivers opting to stay out together. All hedging their bets that the tires aren't really that important. .78 laps in the books. We should get the restart at lap 80. We get the lights out here, yes. So next time by, lap 80, we'll be back under green. That'll start us on that halfway lap. So we'll watch the first lap and then quickly jump to our track limit side by side. If we get a caution during it, we're going to stay in the side by side. So you'll still see what's going on, but I got to take some more medicine. So give me a few seconds to do that while we're in break. We'll be back. Get the restart first, though, so don't worry. Pace truck is in.
flag.
Green flag in the air. So Goins and Redding, they get away pretty cleanly over Drew Blaze, Chris Klein, and Crystal Milano. Milano running 5th. Curious to see these lap times here. So the restart lap time at 20:73 out of Goins. 20:82 out of Drew Blaze on newer tires. So that's interesting. It's back to start finish, just past halfway here at Martinsville. Chris Goins, the race leader. Teammate Redding runs second. We're going to take a track limit side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Green, green, green.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You
somewhere.
need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, working caution again here. Let's see what happened just a moment ago here. Looks like Vincent Short, Mike Corvu, Jason Steptoe all involved. And it looks like Connor Leach gets to the inside. I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly if Short was coming down or if Leach was just late on the brakes, got to the inside, surprised Vince. Either way, they make contact on corner entry. So far, again, we're 93 laps into this point. Chris Goins, Jesse Redding, Crystal Villano, all Track Bar Motorsports drivers in the top 3. None of them have come to pit road.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Chris Goins still out in front. Then it's Jesse Redding, Crystal Villano, Paul Durkee, Justin Lawson. Some new faces here at the front of the field in Martinsville. I'm starting to wonder if this continues to be caution after caution. Will these top 3 drivers just stay out? I can't imagine they can make it on fuel, but then again, with all these cautions, maybe they can. Battle for position. Villano feeling some pressure from the 13 of Paul Durkee. Not sure if it was Durkee that got into the back bumper in the 07 or someone else, but definitely showing some damage to the tailgate area of her machine. Durkee pulls it hard left out of 4, jumps way down low. I don't know if this is going to be good entry. Too shallow for Durkee, but it forces Villano up the track. It may give Durkee an opportunity into turn 3, that is. No, Villano, though, drives it deep into turn 3, cuts off the 13. Good defense by Crystal.
Caution.
And caution is out.
Did you happen to get a look at your temps when you're on track, right after that caution belt?
Well, we'll see what happened. Bottom of your screen. McKinnon up the racetrack. Corvu to the bottom. McKinnon's up in the loose stuff out of that. Oh, it happened up in front of him. Tommy Welch, it looks. Go full speed here with it. Looks like into turn 3. Oh, contact into the back of Russ Endicott. Kind of drifts through. It might have been okay. Hits the curb, then back to the gas on exit, and around it goes. Then Mark Truxell gets into him. Klein squeaks around the outside, and then everybody else piles in after the fact. So it looks like Goins and company has decided to come down and finally make that pit stop. Goins puts the tires on, might as well. Gets the fuel that he needs, without a doubt at this point, with 60 to go next time by, and likely more than enough fuel to make it to the end if this continues. It's caution number 14. Like I said, about lap 40, we anticipated if we stayed at the same rate, we're going to hit 20 yellows tonight. Vigilante Racing League tomorrow night here at Track Limits Network in the trucks. And they're running here at Martinsville too, so hopefully we don't have more of the same, but you never know. This place is a handful. It's small, and again, both leagues a large truck count, which is a good thing 99% of the time, but we get in these tight little paperclip style racetracks, sometimes it can be a burden. If you're just watching for the first time, this league is not known for this. Neither is VRL. Typically a very clean series, clean league. It's not a surprise when you see one league or the other run a complete race without a single yellow. It does happen. Don't think I've ever called a race at Martinsville where we didn't have some chaos, though. So it's kind of what we expected. The biggest problem, I think, really, not so much a problem. It has made it a little more realistic, but the tire update that these trucks got fairly recently has really made them challenging to drive. Pace truck is in. Durkee and Lawson. Couple goats at the front of the field here. Green flag back in the air. And trouble already. And I think that was triggered by, again, don't hate me on this, but I think Durkee triggered that. He kind of played some games there with Lawson trying to get away. Little checkup, little gas. Did we not get a caution out of that? I thought I heard him yell it. I guess not. Well, let's take a quick look. The restart just a moment ago.
Yellow.
There's the yellow.
So what you got going on out there, bud?
Miller didn't fire. He didn't fire or spun the tires, one or the other. Brandon Minnick in the chat says, I'll win Dega. You heard it here first. All right. It's documented now. Most recent yellow here looks like Albert Anderson, maybe? Let's see what happened with the 99. Looks like more chain reaction. Then Klein gets to the left rear of Anderson, just sends him around. Again, not a major incident, but again, enough for the yellow. So lap 106 here at Martinsville Speedway. We'll run through the top 10 here. It's Paul Durkee, Justin Lawson, Ryan Pasoko McCann now up into the 4th spot. Caleb Sisk into the top 5. His teammate Connor Leach 6th. Russ Endicott, Skylar Herod, Chris Klein, and the 90 of Carson Rowland in the top 10. So those faster guys from earlier on are starting to work their way through, picking off a truck or two here and there between these cautions. And my thought here, those guys, McCann, Sisk, Leach, all them guys, they're very smart when it comes to strategy. I think, again, I'm only speculating here because we don't have a pit reporter, but I'm thinking that as soon as they realized, okay, I can pit now, if things stay the way that they are, I can make it to the end here on fuel. So they're maybe trying to make this a one-stopper, but earlier on. So they could, in theory, be done pitting those drivers that pit earlier. But you never know. Maybe we all of a sudden get a long green flag run, and that changes that strategy. That's the beauty of not knowing. You can't ever take the hats to victory lane before the checkered flag waves, so you got to run the rest of this thing to see how it plays out. Pace truck comes to pit lane. So Durkee and Lawson will bring him to the green again here. Pasoko, McCann, and Sisk the top 5. Green flag in the air. Ryan McCann jumps to the inside of the 2 for position, trying to pick up the 4th spot. No, the 3rd spot from Ryan Pasoko. Down the back straightaway, still alongside the 2. Caleb Sisk going to try and chase through and fill that void as well, so the 2's not going to be able to get back down. And to complicate matters, the 2 loses connection for a moment, disappears from view.
Caution.
And caution is out. Jason Steptoe again. Caution number 16 on the night. Steptoe a little loose on entry, slides up the racetrack into the marbles, and then on the throttle getting out of the corner, loses it in front of the 80. I think that's Jonathan Marsh. Nowhere for Jonathan to go there. The way this race has played out, it's kind of got me thinking, just on a league admin stance. So when you have these large fields like this in iRacing, obviously you've got varying skill levels across the board. It's not easy to drive these trucks, regardless of your skill level. When I first got on iRacing, I honestly thought I made a mistake because I couldn't get around the track once without wrecking. You do figure it out over time, but the admin part of my brain thinks if you've got a large field like this, maybe you treat it like the old Friday night, Saturday night short track series type deal. Run heat races and then have a feature, so to speak. Have an A main, a B main, all that good stuff. Kind of treat it like, well, almost like a dirt track series as well. That way you've got a smaller field, you've got the fastest guys in that final feature, but everybody still gets an opportunity to race. I think that may be a better way to go. It's just a thought, but either way, green back in the air. Durkee and Lawson still the top two, and Brian McCann quickly jumped to the inside. Lawson was quick to close the door on Brian McCann, but McCann now up to the third spot, knowing he's got Caleb Sisk to the tailgate. Switches lanes again, jumps to the outside on Lawson, and the caution's out.
What do you got for temps there?
17th yellow of the night. Let's see what happened here to Eddie Rose. Jason Steptoe just drives in the back of Eddie Rose. So front row is still going to be Durkee and Lawson. I think we're still working on these single file restarts, though. That'll be McCann, Sisk, Leach, Pasoko, Skylar Harrod, Russ Endicott, Carson Rowland, and Chris Klein rounding out the top 10. So we're set up for the restart again. It's still going to be Durkee and Lawson out in front. Then McCann, then Sisk, then Leach. That's your top 5. Some very fast guys behind the top 2 right now. We'll see if they can hold them off. So far, it's seeming to work out for these guys. They made pit stops much earlier than the 3 behind. Green back in the air, McCann on the gas. Now Sisk thought about looking to the outside. Got to be careful there, not switching lanes before the line, but Sisk gets around. Not quite clear, though. It's going to cause a problem, I think, for Brian McCann here, as he's going to run side by side. This is really going to give an advantage to Caleb Sisk here, as the 20 of Lawson on the brakes a little bit early slows the momentum of Brian McCann. And Sisk going to go around the outside on McCann. Might do the same here on Lawson. Maybe the same for the race lead in Paul Durkee. Haven't really seen anybody with this kind of speed, but the caution is out for the 18th time. Tommy Welch facing the wrong way. Mark Truxell involved. Brandon Coleman, Ben McKinnon, Mike Fahey, all in this. Larry Dickerson in the chat. Wish I played the game of a shot of whiskey for every caution. Larry, you'd be dead. We did that at Michigan one year. So Welch looks like the first one involved here. Let's watch it. How it happened here. Out of turn 4. Just loses it. And then everybody else piles in. Good job by Drew Blaze getting through that. A lot of these guys are really just not checking up, though. So caution 18, lap 123 here at Martinsville. Paul Durkee still out in front, but Caleb Sisk taking full advantage, getting to the outside of Brian McCann on that previous restart. Put the truck between himself and McCann. That's Justin Lawson. But now, well, it's not really going to hurt them as bad here. These single file restarts, not as much of a detriment to that second place truck as it is when you're double file. It really gives the advantage to the third place truck. I know we talk about that every week, but it's shown its ugly head numerous times over and over again, week after week. So that's why we keep bringing it up. So we're ready to restart this one again here. Durkee and Sisk out in front over Lawson and McCann.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. McCann trying to go around the outside of Justin Lawson just like Sisk did. Not going to be as easy to do it to the 6. Now Caleb gets to the inside for the race lead here at Martinsville. Sisk eager to get this one done. McCann a little loose out of turn number 2 there. Now Connor Leach into the frame to the back bumper of the 7. And Lawson up the track, maybe some contact with Leach, gets away with it. And Brian McCann loose, saves the truck, but way up the racetrack he goes. Gonna lose multiple positions here as he's back to 8th. Case in point, folks, Brian McCann, one of the best out there, and even he's having trouble hanging onto the truck. Back out front, Caleb Zisk in command here, starting to stretch his legs here, pushing to almost a full second advantage back to second place. Teammate Connor Leach working around the outside for second. Coming to 30 laps to go, and Leach has it. Ryan McCann on the charge now, working his way back towards the front. He's running out of time, though, and certainly warmed up the tires more than he had planned there with that little incident in turn one just a few laps ago. But the caution is out, so now he can get him cooled off. Not sure if this was Mike Fahey, possibly. See what happened. A little ahead here, low, Mike Corvu. Just comes around, doesn't even go all the way around, but slows his forward progress enough in traffic to trigger the yellow. Again, it's just an algorithm. There's no live admin for cautions in this series. It's using iRacing's ability to throw them for us. So sometimes they come out when you don't really think they should, and other times they don't come out when you know they should. It's just the way it is. Keeps it fair for everybody. So 135, caution number 19. Again, the prediction was 20 cautions. That was just based on the old Larry McNugget math. We had, what, 8 by lap 40, I think it was? That's kind of how we came up with that. I don't remember how we did it. Don't ask me to think about math. .25 laps to go. It'll be 24 to go when we get the 1 to go. So restarted 23 laps remaining. Working myself backwards here. So I'm not sure. Are we going to go back single file? Or are we going to stick to that? Or no, we're going to double them back up. I guess we got enough green flag laps in. Let's try it again. Green flag in the air. Restart. 23 laps to go. Sis gets away from Connor Leach. They tuck in 1-2, about a truck length separating both of them. Third place still Paul Durkee having a strong run. Skylar Herod, also a Sisk speed shop guy. He's up into the top 5, and Lawson hanging on to the 5th spot. One truck up the fence, Carson. And we got a truck around Albert Anderson.
It's a goddamn caution for it. Correct. 10-4. This last crash, I have no idea what's going on. All right.
Caution number 20 with 21 laps to go. The There was some action ahead of the 99, but we didn't catch a yellow for it. It wasn't until Albert got into the wall. Let's see what happened here to Albert Anderson just a moment ago. Just notice Albert's got the Ride the Lightning paint scheme on his truck this week. No complaints there. Unfortunately for Albert, looks like he was driving in a thunderstorm with a little bit of rain. Lost the back end of the truck, nothing major again. Slides up the track, some damage to the back of the 99, but he'll drive away from the scene and give it another go. So again, no fast repair in this series, so he's going to come down and get some tires. Try to bang out some sheet metal, straighten things out best that they can the last 20 laps of this race. A lot of damage repair, though. Looks like Anderson shuts the truck off, so he may not be going back out. We'll see. So 19 laps to go, still out behind the pace truck with the lights ablaze. Double file restart again. Sisk and Leach, and then Herod and Durkee. Lawson, Pasoko, McCann, Goins, Redding, Klein, the top 10. Field getting smaller, as you can see. Benefits of no fast repair. Got to play with this camera at least once. Green flag back in the air. 17 to go. Laps remain. Sisk still out in front. Then it's Leach, Herod. We got Sisk Speed Shop drivers 1, 2, and 3. And the caution is out again. Jason Steptoe, Crystal Volano, Ben McKinnon, and others. Let's take a look, shall we? Looks like it started ahead of them. Chris Klein and Mike Fahey involved. 3 wide. Klein checks up to avoid staying 3 wide, giving room to the 90, and it costs him a lot of momentum down into the corner. The 22 gets into both drivers, sends Fahey up into the 18, and then it's just chain reaction. Not much you can do then. Wow. And don't forget, folks, we do have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish here. So if you haven't had enough yellows, you might get more. I kid because I care, guys. I really do. I know you're all trying real hard out there. This place is tough, especially in these trucks. Certainly seems like the Sisk Speed Shop has got this place figured out, though. They run 1, 2, 3. And with a race with as many cautions as we've had, not a ton of green flag action, somehow the common denominator is still the Sisk Speed Shop. They've managed to keep, or at least put, all 3 of their trucks at the front of the field with an opportunity to win this race here late in the going. Coming to 12 laps to go. And it's not a matter of setup. Okay, these are fixed setup series, fixed setup league. They really can't change much of anything in the trucks. A couple of small tweaks, but nothing of major significance. You can't change ride heights or anything like that, tire pressures. So it's really just a combination of driving style and pit strategy. It's really the only things that you can do differently compared to your competitors. So we're on the one to go. It'll be 11 laps remaining as we come back to the green flag.
Green flag.
And green back in the air. So Skylar Herod gets the opportunity to take advantage of his teammate here. Skylar Herod to the inside in the red and silver number 3 into turn 3. Connor Leach going to return the attack, I guess you could say. Sorry about that. On the outside is Skylar Herod trying to take that position, but meanwhile, while they battle side by side, Sisk is starting to stretch out his lead, but don't look now. Brian McCann not done yet, working his way back now into the top 5, and the truck goes around. Russ Endicott, big time trouble off turn number 2.
You doing there, bud?
Eddie Rose gets into the back of Jason Steptoe. Steptoe has been a ping pong ball out there tonight. Let's take a look. Looks like they were 3 wide again. I think it was Chuck Kiger in that 22. New paint scheme this week, hard to see. I'll go back a little further here. It looks like they were 3, almost 4 wide. You see Corvu there on the bottom, the 90 of Carson's at the top. They just run out of room on exit. Endicott's trying to open up the wheel best he can, gets into the 22 of Kiger, and then Corvu finishes the job. And then behind it, looks like Villano checked up and might have gotten dumped by the 12, just mainly because he probably didn't see it. Oh, and then Steptoe didn't realize Endicott was down there, just drills him in the left side. On board with Steptoe, watch this. Oh, hello. That's why you don't like changing lanes behind the 18-wheeler on the highway when you're tailgating the daylights out of them. Because you might have a stopped vehicle in the lane that you're going to, and you have no idea until you change lanes. That's what happened, looks like, to Steptoe, because he was tucked in behind another truck. Thought the incident was behind him, went to go left. And, well, you see what happens.
Green flag, green flag.
Sisk with the advantage into 1. Herod and Leach side by side for the second position, but here comes Brian McCann. They got to figure this out quick, or the 7's going to be in full force. Coming to 4 laps to go. Lori Vaught in the chat. Hey, Steve, it's been a long night. Yeah, for you and me both. Lori's doing the admin duties tonight for Derek while he's out. Oh, trouble for Connor Leach out of turn 2. Kept it going straight, but almost came around on him. Still side by side with Herod. Steptoe slow on the bottom side of the racetrack again. Not sure what happened to the 50. If we get another caution, we'll take a look at it, but we're going to stick with this for now. McCann now alongside Connor Leach as Herod's got the second spot. I don't think Herod's going to make it easier for Brian McCann because he's trying to keep him behind him as well as not lose that spot for his teammate Connor Leach. Oh, contact! Herod goes down the racetrack, clips Steptoe, who was going into the pits, and the caution doesn't come out. Like we said, final lap here from Martinsville. Caleb Sisk with the race lead. No pressure out the back window. He's just got to make it back to start finish, but there might be a mess to get into. Hopefully he's got to worry about that. Into turns 3 and 4. Slow truck to 22. Up the top side of the track. And Caleb Sisk will cross start finish. Takes the win. And we're still wrecking. So quickly, this was the caution that wasn't a caution. Yeah, iRacing's got to work on that. Caleb Sisk, your race winner here in Martinsville. Second place was the two of Ryan Pasoko, and Chris Goins brings it home to a top 3. We're going to step aside here, get our final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, a rough one in the books here from Martinsville. Race 7 complete. Caleb Sisk takes the win. Ryan Pasoko finishes second. Chris Goins comes home third. Looks like Chris is the only one I've got available in the broadcast booth at this point, so we'll pull the driver of the 4 machine up into the booth, get a word with third place. Chris, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Yes, sir, Steve. What's going on, bud?
Chris, good job here driving this thing from 5th up into P3. It was a chaotic one just for, I don't really know what other kind of word to really use for this tonight. 21 cautions, I believe, was the total tonight. So really only a handful of laps at a time under green flag conditions. You still managed to bring it back into that 3rd spot. What was the game plan once we realized this thing wasn't going to have any long runs?
Honestly, it was kind of a play-by-ear type deal. Once we realized that it wasn't gonna get any type of green flag run, really, the goal was to make it to lap 100 on the first fuel run, because with the fuel run being around 63 or so, we knew that if by some miracle it did go green the rest of the way, we'd be fine on fuel. So that was kind of the plan. When we did pit on like lap 98, 99, something like that, put us back in around 18th or so on the restart there, and luckily just got a few lucky breaks, and cautions fell the right way. It's funny to say it that way, but and just kind of worked our way back up to P3.
Well, 3rd place at Martinsville just to survive here tonight. A job well done, but to finish top 3, even better. Congratulations, Chris. We look forward to Darlington Raceway next week, the old lady in black. That one going to be a challenge too, but I think a little bit easier as far as the less cautions to worry about next week at Darlington. What's the game plan out for that odd-shaped egg out in South Carolina next week?
At Darlington, it's just a matter of keeping that right front clean. Coming off the corners can be a little hairy, especially if you're trying to run at the wall. I think, like you mentioned, I think it'll be less cautions that you'll see. I think you'll still see some damaged trucks because of it. But, the main thing is just kind of keep it clean, keep it pointed the right direction. And I think we have a pretty good chance at, another top 10 or so.
Certainly looking forward to it. Chris, congrats again, man. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to shout out my teammates over at Track Bar Motorsports. We had really good runs going. Didn't really end as well as we had hoped, but still a pretty strong showing throughout the race. Want to thank the admins over here at NTRL. Sorry for the chaotic race review that you're going to have. Appreciate you, Steve, over here at Track Limits, doing this so we can go back and watch the chaos as it occurred. Shout out to High Tide Hospitality, the Waterman Fish Bar, Ace Burgers, Sea Level, Track Bar Media. Special shout out to Hot Tamales. I got them on the truck. We may have to bring them back. Got a special meeting with the Hot Tamales, so we may have to bring it back for Darlington and see if we can paint the wall black.
All right, Chris. Well, congrats again, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Darlington.
Appreciate it, Steve. Thanks.
It's Chris Goins, your 3rd place finisher. Next, we're going to pull the race winner, Caleb Sisk, into the broadcast booth. Get a word of the driver number 6. Caleb, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Caleb, congratulations, man. I know it was a rough one out there tonight, but it's always good when you can pull the thing into victory lane. Walk us through your race. I know we certainly didn't have any long green flag runs to talk about, but what was the game plan? It seemed like you and your Sisk Speed Shop boys had something figured out.
Yeah, just I wanted to pit around 60. I figured there'd be a ton of yellows and we'd be all right on fuel, but decided to bring it back down again on 77 just for a little comfort. Finish the race with a ton of fuel, so probably could have prevented some drama there, but just really it's about keeping the fenders on it and being smart. If you try to go a half car length deeper, you got to know what that's going to do, and it's going to make you free on entry, and you just got to be really, really in rhythm. And it can be hard with a lot of yellows, but just try to keep talking to them about be smart, don't put your nose where you can't, drive out of the corner, because if you reset, track position's big. So we did end up with a pit road penalty there, which was kind of goofy, just an iRacing thing, but didn't matter. Drove back to the front, passed them on the inside, outside, didn't matter.
We saw those passes there late around the outside. You went from 4th to lead in just a couple of laps. Super impressive to see how that happened. What is the real key to getting around this place, whether it's in single-car laps or even in traffic?
I think that it's about running the right brake bias and knowing where your brake bias is at. So you want to get the nose set down quickly, but you've got to kind of come off the brake to get the car turned down the hill, and then you might start dragging some braking. It almost would, corner entry would mirror like a road course where you're trail braking on entry, and then you kind of set the car to rotate and be patient on the throttle. So many people, especially when I passed, McCann on the outside there and Lawson, I could hear them throttle up, and I just knew it was too soon. And I waited another half truck length till my truck was set and coming down the hill, and picked the throttle up and drove right past them. So it's easy to not be disciplined when you can hear the other person's motor, and you want to drive in a little deeper or pick the throttle up a little sooner, but it's just going to ruin your lap time, and somebody's going to go past you.
The one caveat that I picked up when someone taught me how to get around this place years ago was roll the center, roll the center, roll the center, and that really helped me considerably. I don't know if that still is the case with this current tire model, but it seemed to help then. I would assume it probably helps now.
Oh, 100%. You just cannot pick the throttle up too soon. Just like I said, you've got to be patient.
With that said, we move to the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway next week. Certainly a much different racetrack, but still a rather unique one. What's your mindset rolling into South Carolina?
Man, I absolutely love that racetrack. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday for the Xfinity and the Cup race.
Nice.
If I'm not traveling for work, I'm expecting to run good. It is a super fun track. It is a tire-eating, high-speed machine, and rip it the Kyle Larson line. Keep her close to the wall and keep her wound up.
Very good. Well, Caleb, congratulations on the win here tonight. Who do you want to thank before I kick you out of here?
Man, a strong run from the team. I hate that they got caught up a little bit there, but we had a good run for the team. Appreciate Nick Biddy Design, Sis Speed Shop, just everybody that puts this on. Lori for stepping in when DW's out. I know we had a lot of yellows tonight, but if you look back at some of the other tracks that we've run, I bet the yellow count's not too far off, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is the paperclip. So hopefully we'll keep this going. Appreciate you for broadcasting and bringing it up here. And hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Sounds good, Caleb. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week in Darlington.
Thank you, sir.
Caleb Sisk, your race winner here from Martinsville Speedway. I don't think we have Ryan Pasocco available, but he did come home in that second position after the melee there on the final lap. Ryan started back in the 17th spot, so a strong finish for the two. Good job by him. With that, though, we'll get out of the interview portion tonight. We'll look at our race results. Of course, Caleb Sisk, Ryan Pasocco, Chris Goins, your top three. Connor Leach was 4th, Paul Durkee 5th. 6th place was Drew Blaze. Justin Lawson was 7th. 8th place went to Double O Joe Bennett. 9th was Sean Roberts. Skylar Herod 10th. Mike Corvu was 11th. Vincent Short 12th. 13th, Carson Rowland. Brian McCann 14th. Scott Milner 15th. Mike Fahey was 16th. Ryan Kemper 17th. 18th finisher was Jesse Redding. 19th, Crystal Villano. 20th, Ben McKinnon. 21st finisher, Chuck Kiger. Brandon Coleman 22nd. Ross Endicott 23rd. 24th, Chris Klein. Eddie Rose 25th. Jason Steptoe 26th. Paul Ferdiani was 27th. Albert Anderson 28th. 29th, Tommy Welch. 30th, Mark Truxell. 31st, Jonathan Marsh. Mark Collins was 32nd. Aikman Pollard 33rd. Nick Biddy was 34th. Brandon Minnick 35th. Larry Dickerson 36th. And Tom Barish did not take the green flag. He'll be credited with the 37th position in last. 160 laps down. That'll do it for us, folks. Thanks for watching here tonight. Don't take it out on the channel. I know it was a rough race with the yellow flags here tonight. We do appreciate you showing up and watching, though. They're not all going to be gems, folks, but usually these guys, they put on a damn good show. Same for the VRL tomorrow. Things get nasty there, too. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just the kind of the nature of the beast here at Martinsville. But there's plenty of good racing coming throughout the rest of the season. So don't let this turn you off. Keep coming back. Keep watching. Hit that thumbs up tonight. I know it wasn't the best race in the world to watch, but we still had fun doing it. And again, we certainly appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's going to wrap it up. Have a good night.